So you want to be a Hoyoung. So you want to be a master of deception and deceit, and really good at lying. Well then, you've come to the right class. In beginner tab, or in the beginner, job class, as you do the story, you gain these two skills. Return to his main town, as well as shapeshift. And what shapeshift does is it gets rid of your tail and ears. So, unlike Beast Tamer where you have to actually pay to hide these, this class can just, well, it has a cooldown of 10 seconds, but yeah, you can just do that. No need to pay. And then we have Spirit Affinity, which, yeah, just makes your minion last longer, which is really nice actually, once we get to third job. And then the rest are just regular beginner skills. The Link skill is Bravado, which lets you ignore enemy defense as well as increase your damage as long as the enemy has 100% HP. So not really a bossing skill, not really a Link skill you bring to bosses, maybe for training, because monsters respawn, come back with 100% HP. Could be good for that. So moving on to first job, we have Talisman Energy. And this pretty much just is the gauge. You can move it around like pretty much any other gauge class. And instead of spending time later on explaining stuff, I'll just explain the whole gauge here. So we have 3 orbs as you can see, a purple one standing for humanity, yellow one for earth, and blue for heaven. The skills that will activate these orbs, or make the orbs go towards the center, which is the Talisman Energy, are shown by the color border around the skill. So this one has a purple border, which means when I use it, or when I hit an enemy with it, it'll use the purple orb. And then later on you get this skill, which has a yellow border, which of course uses the yellow orb. And then third job you get a blue skill, using the blue one. Now, when you attack with those skills, you gain 10 energy. Unless, of course, you use an orb with it. And I'll show you what I mean right here. So I used the purple skill, and I hit an enemy with it, so it used the purple orb, which gave me 10 energy. The first orb that you use will always give you 10 energy. The second orb you use will always give you 15 energy. And the third orb that you use will always give you 20 energy. After using the third orb, it'll reset all the colors. So let's use the second orb here, which is the yellow one. Or actually, let's use a blue one, just to go out of order. So now I gained 15 energy, and if I use the third one, you see that all the colors come back, and I'll gain 20 energy. And there we go. Now, let's say you just keep repeating using 2 skills. So I'm going to use purple here, which will give me 10, and then I'll use the yellow one, which gives me 15. Well, actually, this isn't going to really showcase it very well, but let's just get rid of that. Okay, so now that I have these 2 gone, if I use a purple skill, like that, it'll only give me 10 energy, and if I use a yellow skill, like that, it'll again only give me 20 energy. Or, sorry, 10 energy. So, as long as the orb isn't there, you'll only gain 10 energy for using that skill. So, it really is based on how many orbs you've used. So, because we only have 1 more orb left, because we used 2, this is the third orb, so if I use this skill, I'll then get 20 energy. So we just gained 20. Alright, so let's fill up the middle gauge. The Talisman Energy. So I can show you... here we go. So I can show you what this is. So now that you see that it's completely full, you do have to have 100 energy, or it has to be filled, to be able to use a Talisman skill. The middle is Talisman skills, or Talisman Energy. The outer is Scroll Energy. So Talisman skills are shown by the bottom right symbol. Looks like a little talisman, kind of. But yeah, there's a talisman on the bottom right of the icon. When you use this skill, or any skill that has the talisman icon, you will then use up all of the energy in here to use that skill. So it's not really a cooldown per se, but you can't just spam it because you need to have full energy in the middle to be able to use these skills. So as you can see, all of those have a talisman symbol. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one. And when I use it, all the energy is gone. But you saw that the outer ring filled up. And that's because whenever you use a Talisman skill, a scroll skill, or you'll gain scroll energy. So once you get filled up, all of your scroll... once you get all of your scroll energy filled up, you'll then be able to use scroll skills. So this class is basically just filling up the middle gauge to use certain skills, which then fill up the outer gauge to then use other skills. I know it's very, very confusing, but it's much easier once you actually see it. So I'm just going to fill up the gauge again. So right now I'm filling up the Talisman gauge. And once that filled up, I can then use the Talisman skill, which will put 35 points into the scroll gauge, or scroll energy. So because it's 35 energy, and you only need 100 to fill it up, you can use the skill 3 times and you'll be set. So after 3 Talisman skills have been used, you will then have enough energy to use a scroll skill. And that's pretty much the cycle of the class. Alright, so yeah, hopefully that explained it well enough. Next we move on to the actual skills. Humanity, as you will, Fan. So this, you can just spam it. Does 5 hits, pretty strong, pretty fast. This is the attack speed without any booster. Like I said, pretty fast, has good range. It's really nice. Also has pretty good vertical range and horizontal, or vertical and yeah, just range all around, really. Like from down here, I can probably hit up there. Not right there, but yeah, I can like jump and hit that. Super nice. And of course, it uses the purple orb because it has the purple border. Next, we have our first Talisman skill, which allows you to suck up enemies and then spit them back out. If you don't press the skill again, it'll spit them back out automatically after some time. Hits 6 times and does 20% bonus damage to bosses. When I first saw that, it said 20% boss damage. I thought it meant that it gives you 20% like in your stat window, but the 20% comes from another skill. Comes from this skill, not that skill. Or was it? There we go. So the 20% that you see in my stat window actually comes from this skill. But yeah, this just means that it does 20% damage to bosses. This skill I didn't actually use this skill after 3rd job. So feel free to use it 1st job, 2nd job, maybe even later on if you want to, but this class already uses enough keyboard space, so I didn't even bother putting this on my keyboard. And then we have Flash Jump, which you can use twice, like, you know, almost all the thieves. Probably all the thieves, yeah. And that's about it. Next we have Nimbus Cloud, and you can only get this skill after completing the tutorial, like the beginner storyline. And the way that you activate it is by jumping, or you have to be in the air, and then you have to hold up and then press jump and hold down jump. And you can use it after flash jumping. You can also flash jump after it. And yeah, that's about it for the Nimbus Cloud. And then you get some passive skills, increases speed and max speed and avoidability. So moving on to 2nd job, we have the Earth skill, your first Earth skill, which will use the yellow orb. Ground Shattering Wave. Now this skill is also your first clone skill, so I'll explain that here. When you use this skill, you'll see that it like sends out a wave, and then a clone does a 2nd wave afterwards. So it actually hits twice. The first hit, and then the 2nd hit afterwards. However, that's the clone version of it. Or, no, that's not the right way I want to say that. So the clone version of it makes you stay in the spot that you activated the skill. However, to activate the true version of it, which means that it's not a clone, it's actually you press the skill again and hold the direction you're facing. So you can see no clone came out. Instead, I actually went myself and like dashed across. So you basically have a choice whether or not you want to go out yourself or you want to send a clone. Has really good range. You can only use it on the ground though, you can't use it in the air. I mean, it is an earth skill. And then this just explains what I explained just now, which is, it's a clone skill. There is no difference between whether or not you do a regular skill or a clone skill. Like do the true version of it or the clone version. It's just whether or not you want to dash forward. Oh, I should also mention, not all clone skills only have one direction you can go in. But we'll get into that in third job. Think of it as just a dash skill. Like if you just want to use it as a regular attack or if you actually want to dash. Next we have our first Talisman skill. No, I'm sorry, I forgot about the... Like I said, I never use the skill, so I forgot completely about it. So Talisman Clone. This skill right here is so good. So, okay, I'm going to use it because I had full Talisman energy. Now watch this. Actually, there's no enemies on the bottom. The range on this skill is incredible. So what it does is it's basically final attack. After you attack, there's a chance that a clone will come out and attack enemies around you. Now watch, it'll hit all the way up here. Look at that, it's up there doing damage. It can even attack up there too. Oh, it went that way instead. Basically, I think if the enemy's on your screen, the clone can go to it. So for 200 seconds, it'll activate 3 clones, which will attack enemies. It does more damage against normal monsters, and yeah. So yeah, really good mobbing with that. I say so, yeah, a lot. This is good. This is a very good skill. Very important when you have your Talisman energy filled up. Luckily, it has a long duration, so you don't have to worry about what's it called? Recasting it like every time you have Talisman energy. And then we have Booster, increases your attack speed by 2. Mastery, I mean, yeah, it's just Mastery. So, when you use a clone skill, if you choose to send a clone out instead of yourself, you'll get Dark Sight for 2 seconds, I believe. Yes, you get Dark Sight for 2 seconds. Like that. So all the skills that involve a clone will put you into Dark Sight as long as you don't use the true version of it, which of course sends you out. Oh, and if you want to get out of Dark Sight, just use an attack. Like just do an attack, or you can just press the attack key. All right, and then we have another passive, 30% crit rate. Yeah, you know, all good stuff. Crit damage. Heavenly Body. Makes it so that you can use the cloud a little bit longer than you normally can, as well as increases your jump. Oh, and also you move faster with it as well. But I haven't shown that because I didn't get an SP reset, because I'm silly. And yeah, then there's that passive. Wait, it doesn't do dex? Oh no, I guess they changed it, didn't... whatever. Third job! We have Scroll Energy, which I already explained. Every time you use a Talisman skill, fills up the Scroll Energy by 35, which means you only have to use it 3 times before you're filled up with Scroll Energy. So there we go, Scroll Energy is full. With Scroll Energy, you can then use Scroll skills. Alright, so let's actually show the skill, or go over the other skills. So you saw me use it a lot already, but Iron Fangale, this skill will push you into the air if you're on the ground. And then if you're in the air, it'll just be used. Has no cooldown, and yeah, that's all I can really say about that. Oh, actually, it's another clone skill. So of course, if you don't send yourself out there, it will just put you into Dark Sight and not send you forward. However, if you do get sent forward, or if you do the true version of it, you'll actually bounce on the enemies. So, because these guys are dying, I can't really bounce off of them every time I want to. But you saw it the first time. There we go. There's another time I did it. So if you actually do the true version, you'll go forward and then you'll also bounce off the enemy's head. Why that's important? I'm not really sure. Maybe you want to get to another platform or something, or you want to combo it with the 4th job skill. Yeah, you just bounce off the enemy. Or maybe you want to dodge an attack, I guess. Wait, can you? Let me try something real quick. Okay, so you can't use it again after you bounce. I was gonna say, like, you could just stay airborne if you did that. Like, if you could just bounce off the enemy and then press the skill again to bounce. Like, again and again and again. But yeah, can't do that. Alright, so I learned something while making this video. Next we have... Oh, and by the way, that's a heaven skill, so it'll use the blue orb. So next we get our second... Oh, actually, let me go to a different map for this. Oh my god, I wasn't recording! I went through all of... Anyway, let's get back into the... Can't believe I recorded all of that and I didn't even actually record it. So, next we move on to Earthstone Tremor, which is your next yellow skill, or earth skill. And this, I don't really use, but I think it'll find a lot of use in, like, people that actually main this class. So it has really good range for training. Has a 6 or 5 second? No, 6 second cooldown. So there we go. And it is a clone skill, so if you choose to do the clone version, you do go into dark sight for 2 seconds. However, if you use the true version, you can move either left or right, instead of just like the other skill where you can only move one direction. You can actually move left or right with this skill. And the difference is when I do this earth skill, it's a dash. You can clearly see I'm dashing. But with this skill, it's a teleport. So I believe this can go through like Lotus's laser if you teleport through it, and like pretty much anything else teleport goes through. And you can teleport in either direction, whether you're facing it or not. So left or right with this skill. So now I'm facing right, I'm gonna face left and go right. And I'll explain it just in case someone missed it before. In order to do the true version of a skill, you have to press the skill again and hold the direction you want to move. So that was the clone version. I'm going to press the skill again and hold left. And there we go. So that can find some pretty good uses. And then this skill just shows you, like, it's the clone version or not or whatever. So then we have Talisman Seeking Ghost Flame. This is your another talisman skill, which means you have to have full talisman energy to use it. And this is an amazing summon. Only has a 40-second duration, but because of your beginner skill, it's a 10% duration increase. And as you can see, it went off of my screen, and it's killing things. Like, this skill goes it can go pretty much anywhere in the map and kill things for you. It also has a very wide range of attack, and it can only attack every 1.8 seconds. Until later on you get a hyper skill that you can reduce that by 25%. Next we have Scroll Degeneration. Now, do you guys remember Doom? The old priest skill? Let me just get some scroll energy real fast. Okay, so now we have scroll energy, or talisman energy. I guess I'll activate that. So now I have scroll energy. And this is your first scroll skill, by the way. What it does is it'll transform enemies around you into like lizards and frogs to make them not be able to do like any attacks. And of course it makes them a lot easier to kill. So it's basically Doom, but like new Doom. Let me go to a map where I won't actually kill these enemies. Alright, so as you can see, these enemies have magic attacks. Oh my god. Okay, let's do that again. Oh my goodness. You didn't see that. I'm editing that out. I'm not actually, but I want to. Okay, so as you can see, these guys have magic attack. so they can attack from a distance. However, if I use Degeneration, it'll turn them into basically useless enemies. And, as an added bonus, it also works like Reflection or Chain Lightning, where once you hit one enemy with it, the attack will bounce off and hit another enemy. So actually, let me use that like down here somewhere. Okay, this is a good spot. I can't believe I did that. I cannot believe I just did that. Oh my god. Be right back. Okay, let's try this again. If you're wondering what happened, I ended up using a scroll skill that wasn't Degeneration. So then I had to charge up my Degeneration or scroll energy again. So here we go. I'm gonna use Degeneration.
Degeneration!
And as you can see, it'll bounce off of enemies in the map and turn them into little useless enemies that can't do anything. They also take 20% more damage, and yeah. So if you miss Doom, this is a good skill. Of course, it's one of your strongest skills as well, doing 450% damage while all the other skills did like less than 200. So very good skill. And it's also like Chain Lightning or Reflection, where it'll bounce everywhere. And then we have passives. Let's see. So this increases basically all of your attacks. Not really all of them, but it increases your damage of like certain skills. And then this one, another passive, increases boss damage, crit rate, all kinds of stuff. This one makes you more tanky, gives you 20% knockback resistance. That's the only knockback resistance you're going to get, aside from hyper stats and link skills. But also increases your HP by 20% and makes you take 15% less damage. And then there's Balance. Balance Breath. When you use all 3 orbs, you'll recover, what was it? 3% HP and MP. Which isn't much, but you do use your orbs pretty often. If you play the class correctly, anyway. Alright, so for 4th job, I'm going to move on to another Hoyoung. Alright, so now we're in 4th job. And the first skill you get, or that you see, is a new Heaven skill. So it'll use the blue orb. Now this can only be used in the air, has a cooldown of 8 seconds, and does not automatically send you into the air. You do have to actually jump and use it. Or you could just combo it into, you know, that skill. Oh, it's also a clone skill. So if you want, you can use it as vertical mobility, if you do the true version of it. However, if not, it has really good range upwards and horizontally. Let me see, let me go in here actually. So I'll use it right here. And as you can see, it hits very high above you. So after using Consuming Flames, it will reset the usage of the Cloud as well as Flash Jump. So let me go ahead and show that out here, so I have more room to move. So I'm going to use Flash Jump, use this skill, and then I can Flash Jump again. And same thing if you use the Cloud, because this character was 250 when I got it, it didn't like go through the story, so I don't have the Cloud or any other like beginner skills. So Flash Jump, use this skill, and I can Flash Jump again. So very good for mobility as well. And then of course, there's the True and Clone version. True version, you actually move up. Clone version, you stay still, but the flame still goes up with the clone. And then we have, oh goodness, Gold Banded, I don't know what that is. Basically a staff. So you hit with yourself first, and then I think... So yeah, only the first part of the attack will, because it's purple, will use the purple energy, and the second part of the attack will not. So the first part missed, and the second part, as you saw, hit, but it did not give purple energy. Or it didn't use the purple orb. Cooldown is 11 seconds, and it does a lot of lines and pretty good damage. And then we have 1,000-ton stone. And this can be activated either by being in the air and pressing down twice, or you can just press the skill when you're in the air. And it will drop you really fast. Like real, oh boy, let me show you how fast you drop. So we're up here, and look at how fast we drop normally. I'm sure you've all seen this like a billion times from Maple videos. And then here's with the stone. It's so fast. Alright, so that's that. Once you hit an enemy with it, it'll bleed them, and they'll take damage every 1 second for 10 seconds. The cooldown of the skill is 0.5 seconds, so you do have to wait just to, like, not even... It's so short. You can also right-click if you don't want to worry about pressing down twice and using the skill. But I like having it. So next is the Warp Gate, which is a Talisman skill, which means you do have to have the Talisman energy filled up in the middle. And it passively gives you avoidability and allows you to teleport anywhere in the map. So the first time that you use the skill, you put down this door. You can move anywhere in the map, doesn't matter how far it is. You press the skill again, and you'll teleport back to the gate. However, if you press the skill while you're on top of the gate, you'll teleport to where you last were. Like that. So you can see that it leaves a, what is it, like a mirage? Not really a mirage, what do they call it? A mark, okay, sure. So yeah, the first time that you use it, it puts down a door, the door lasts for 200 seconds, and then you can teleport back to the door by pressing the skill again. Or if you want to teleport back to the previous spot, you can just stand on the door and press the skill. There's also a 5-second cooldown on the teleport. So yeah, there's that. And then there's Star Vortex. And I'm not sure if it's a bug or not. I definitely see it as one. Alright, so to show off this skill, I came to this map, not only because I can take actual damage, but because I want to show off the bug in this video as well. I'm not sure if it's actually a bug, maybe it's not, but I think it is. So this is a scroll skill, which means of course you need full scroll energy. And it puts down like a black hole? Not really a black hole. Basically an area of effect where it'll continuously attack enemies in that area. When you put it down, it'll continuously attack enemies. And every time it hits, or every 4 times it hits, or if it's fighting a boss every 3 times, you'll absorb 1 energy. You'll have 1 orb created. And for each of those orbs, you recover 5% HP and MP to both you and your party. Or it says only to your party, but I haven't actually tested it with someone in my party. But you'll see that when I do use it, that the orbs also come to me, so I assume it also heals me. Unless it's more of a the orbs that you absorb heals your party. I don't know why they would make it like that, but anyway. It also won't get you killed by damage reflect. And the only way to actually absorb the orbs is by using the skill again. So let me just show it. So I'll use it. And once you use it, you'll see that it'll continuously damage enemies. And there's a oh, there will be once it hits enough enemies. There we go. So you can see it hit an enemy 4 times, which put like a little 1 next to the symbol up there. Now it has 2, which means I'll get 2 orbs once I use the skill again. Now it has a 3, so I'll get 3 orbs. And it can go all the way up to 9. And each orb heals 5% HP and MP. So I'm going to go ahead and use the skill again. You'll see the orbs come to me. However, they're not healing my HP or MP, which I think is a bug. Alright, so next, another scroll skill, and this one is super important. This lasts for, how long was it? 100 seconds. So this skill, oh, I have buff duration by the way, so that kind of makes it last longer. So every time you attack, you summon 5 butterflies. And those butterflies have some range on them. Like, they can fly pretty much as far as this little guy. Like, it is really good. However, there's a cooldown of 1 second before you can summon some more butterflies. So you can't just, like, continuously spam it like crazy. Oh, and it makes Degeneration's damage go up as well. Passively. The butterflies will not get you killed by damage reflect, and yeah. Oh, I should also mention it increases your final damage by 10%. So that is a very important summon to have. So the clone skill, as well as the what's it called? As well as the butterflies are very important skills to have. And next is Maple Warrior, or Anima Warrior, which is the same as every other Maple Warrior, which increases you and your party's all stats by 15%. There it is. So next we have Anima Hero's Will, which will get rid of an abnormal status that is on you, and then for 3 seconds after you use it, you're immune to abnormal status. And then we move on to passives. So, you know, there's Mastery, it's pretty much the same as all the others. Final damage, pretty cool. This is like all the other skills that boosted your other skills damage. And then finally, you get attack, final damage, crit rate, crit damage, ignore enemy defense, and more avoidability. So yeah, that's all the 4th job. Now we move on to hypers. I am not sure what to do with these. So these first two, or the first and the third one, increases the damage of pretty much the skills that use these orbs in here. So I would say that's very important, as well as boss damage. Ignore defense is also important, but like I don't know if it's more important than some of the other ones. So this one, I don't use the skill, so I didn't care about it at all. It's the pot that like you absorb enemies into it and spit them out. Just makes its damage better. This makes your clones from using the Talisman clone skill. Makes them ignore 25% enemy defense. That seems pretty important. That's more defense than this ignores, so I feel like that would be important, especially because they're always around. But they're not very strong unless you're using the 5th job skill, so I'm not sure if that's very important. The Ghost Flame, the summon, makes his attack interval faster by 25%. So let me go ahead and summon him here. He's not really attacking much, but... yeah, that's pretty fast. I would say it's worth it. And then we have 35% damage to Degeneration, which, again, I don't really use the skill, but it is useful because it's a good mobbing skill. It's like a Chain Lightning or Reflection. And then Butterfly Rush increases boss damage by 20%. Very useful because the butterflies are very helpful. And then finally, the attack interval of Hasty Vortex. I don't think you really need it. It's basically rapid fire already. I really don't think you need that. Especially if you're mobbing. Maybe for bossing, but again, I don't see this. Because it's a scroll skill. Because it's a scroll skill, you're not going to be using it that often. Like, the thing about scroll skills is because you don't get the energy quickly, you have to choose between using, like, out of all the scroll skills, like, do you want to use the butterfly, do you want to use vortex, or do you want to use, like, the 5th job skill, or degeneration? So yeah, I don't think that's going to be a priority. So I just did Butterfly Rush, very important. I did the Ghost Flame, pretty cool. And then I did all 3 of these. I guess you can get rid of this one to make the clone ignore defense, which will really help the 5th job skill, especially after you put nodes into it. But anyway, enough about that. I went on for way too long about that. So now we get into the actual skills. This is your 140 hyper, this is the 160 hyper, and this is the 190 hyper. So let's go over this one first. So for 12 seconds, you get 10% final damage, and you restore Talisman energy and Scroll energy over time. So let me go ahead and get rid of both of them. Or I'll just use it now. So yeah, for 12 seconds, you'll just continuously gain scroll energy and talisman energy. The cooldown is 100 seconds, so not too long. Very, very useful. Next we have Dream of Shangri-La, which is an iframe skill, which means you're invincible during the casting, or during the whole animation of it. So the unique thing about this skill is you can hold it down. It's a 20-second iframe. 20 seconds of iframe. However, the longer you hold it down is the longer the cooldown. So if I were to hold it down for less than a second, then I only have to wait like 10 seconds. So I'm going to use it for like a few seconds. I DC'd. Okay, so that's a problem with the skill. Hopefully it's fixed when it hits the actual server. I'll probably have to let them know about that. Alright, so moving on to the level 190 hyper. This is your bind. And I don't really like this bind. Like, I like it when it explodes, like, I'll show you what I mean. So most binds are like, you use it, you hit the thing in front of you, that's it. It's not really like anything. But with this skill, you actually toss it forward. And then when it explodes, that's when it binds. Like that. So now those enemies would be bound, if, you know, they had enough HP to survive the hit. So if you're hitting only one enemy, they are bound, or the enemy's bound for 11 seconds. However, the more enemies that you hit, the less the duration of the bind. Oh, and of course the cooldown is 200 seconds. Most of the hypers and 5th job skills have a cooldown of 200 seconds. So this is, you know, 100, 200, and then 200. So moving on to 5th job skills, we have the new, like, you know, every class got this kind of skill. It affects Nova, Flora, and Anima differently, but this is their version of it. And for Anima, it gives them scroll energy charge, gets increased, gives them extra damage, and it also makes their knockback resistance 100% so they don't get knocked back. Pretty good, especially because you only have 20% knockback resistance. Oh, and of course, the energy, it's already gone. That skill doesn't last very long at level 1. Yeah, 40 seconds. Oh, actually, no, it's still going on. I was looking at another skill. Let me see something. Oh yeah, I gained 43. Pretty good, pretty good. Okay, so, I don't know what this even... well, I don't know why that's there. Well, anyway. Next we have Clone Rampage. This skill makes your clone so strong. So for 20 seconds... this is level 1, by the way. 20 seconds, you can make 12 clones. Not just 3, 12. And each of them does a lot of damage and can attack twice. That is really good. This is one of your burst skills. This is amazing. And then we have the Tiger, which is a scroll skill. Which means that, once again, you have to choose between using the Butterfly, Degeneration, or this Tiger. So the Tiger will attack on its own every few seconds, but if you use the third orb in your gauge, it'll actually do like a roar kind of thing. So I'll show you what that looks like here. You just wait for the enemies to spawn again. Alright, so now he has it, and there's the roar. So every time you use all 3 of your orbs, he'll like stock up a roar. So he's gonna do another bite, and now that I've done that, he's gonna roar. And the roar is much more range, and also does more damage. Wait, does it? Scroll energy when you reach... Okay, so it doesn't do more damage, but it does have more range. So it attacks every 3 seconds and has a 200-second cooldown. Next we have Wrath of Gods. And this, oh, this skill. It's a 2-parter. This skill, okay, I don't know if at level 30 or whatever, it like lowers any of the numbers. Probably does. But cooldown's 200 seconds like all the other, you know, skills that are amazing. But if you use the skill once, you get a buff. And what that buff does is after every 12 attacks, I believe it was 12. I think it's like 6 or something when you max it. I'm not sure if they changed that. But, so there we go. So that was like a giant fist that came out of nowhere and attacked. So the gods will basically come out and help you attack, is what that does. And if you press the skill again before the cooldown's over, you get this wonderful animation. And not only does that do a lot of damage and hit pretty much full screen, it also gets rid of damage reflect and what do you call it? Damage reflect and weapon cancel. So if you see a boss doing damage reflect, you can always use that. You can just press it twice and activate that to get rid of damage reflect. But then you would lose the buff. Pretty sure. Oh, you're also invincible while summoning the gods. So during that whole cool animation, you're invincible. And there it says it negates attack ignore, which makes you only do 1 damage. And also attack reflection, which is damage reflect. Cooldown 200 seconds. And that's basically the class. I guess I'll show you all the different, like, mobbing and bossing. So here's the mobbing. Okay, so the mobbing... Whoa, what was that? Oh, it's my first rune. Wow. Alright, so, yeah, this is the mobbing. You pretty much... your attacks have so much range to them. And of course I can use this if I want to, like, just take care of the center. This class is really good at big maps, because you can place a portal and then move somewhere else. And all of its attacks have super wide range. And then of course you have the clones, the butterflies, like everything else is helping you as well. It's just really good. Once the class is actually in the server, I'll have a lot more practice to do some more mobbing, but I trained the class to 4th job, and I gotta say, the leveling is really fast. Or not super fast, but it's definitely fast. So what I like to do is... Well, first let me get up here. I like to put the portal... Actually, I'll put the portal right here. So I put the portal right there.
Butterflies, attack!
And then I'll do, like, either this attack, and then teleport back over there. I can do, like, the fire here, and then while I'm jumping I use the staff, because the staff has incredible range. And then teleport back over there. Or I can just put the tiger somewhere. Let that do all the work. But yeah. Mobbing on this class, not too bad. Not the greatest. It's just what it is. But yeah, the clones and the butterflies really help you out. Now let's go on to the bossing. So you want to go through all of the orbs. Oh my goodness, this deuce. As you can see, class is very strong. You do have to remember to keep using your Talisman energy though, so you can fill up the scroll energy. When you're webbed, you can't use your heaven skills. So next boss, I'll show off the burst. If he would stop spinning, maybe I'll actually get there. Oh, by the way, in the middle of this attack, you can't be knocked back. So I'll show you what I mean. So this is without any knockback resistance, or I mean the base. Getting knocked back, but if you use this attack, you don't get knocked back. So anyway, let's go ahead and use this so we can get all of our buffs.
Butterfly dream.
Alright, so once all of your burst is ready, let's go ahead and activate that. Hit him with the bind.
Here, here.
And as you can see, this class does so much damage. It does so much damage, it's beautiful. The burst is insane on this class. So yeah, that's the bossing. And yeah, there's a lot with this class. There's a lot going on with this class. So if you don't like gauges, and you don't like combos... Oh, I never actually explained the combo, did I? I mean, it's not really a combo. But basically what you're doing is using any of the skills, like the purple skill, the yellow skill, and then the blue skill. But you can put them in any order you want. I usually do the grounded ones first, just because this will automatically send you into the air and you can't use that in the air. So what I'll do is the fan into this, into the aerial fan. And if it's off cooldown, I'll add in the flame into the aerial fan. And then after that, I'll activate the stone. I don't believe the stone needs to be activated, like it doesn't do too much damage, I guess, but it does send you to the ground very fast. So I put it in there. Maybe it is part of the combo. I know I was watching Kobe's video as well, and he added this into the mix, which is also a really good idea, but I only would use that skill as like an escape option. But yeah, you want to activate clones, you want to activate butterflies, and then whenever you get the chance, activate the summon, which is this little guy. Oh, and of course when it's off cooldown, you can also use the staff. So combo is... Oh! You can also macro the skills, these two. The Humanity Will Fan, or As You Will Fan, and Shattering Wave. However, I didn't do that because I feel like I lose control of my character. It definitely does attack faster though. But I just feel like I don't control my character as well when I do that. It's up to you though, if you want to use it or not. I would just rather not have them on two separate buttons. Alright, so yeah, sorry the video's so long. The whole explaining this, that took a while. I was on that for a long time, but I'm of course editing all that out. But hope you enjoyed the video, and happy Maybling!